Hello, Scoreholio organizers. This is Ben with Scoreholio. I'm going to show you how to combine two of my favorite things on the app. This is Scoreholio Seasons combined with a Switcholio League. I'm going to go ahead and get right into this because it's going to be a pretty lengthy one. Here I'm on seasons.scoreholio.com. On the right, you can see I have my phone and the app. In order to do Scoreholio Seasons, you do have to be on the Pro membership. That's a $20 a month or $200 a year membership. But it is quite the robust system, so I highly encourage you get to learn how to use it because it is super fun and very cool to use. So let's go ahead and I'm going to go into the organizer admin. And this tutorial, I'm going to do cornhole, but you can do any sport that you want. I have a Switcholio League tutorial right here. I'm going to go ahead and go into the edit so you can see everything I got. I got my season name, season name, my organization name, my start date, end date for the season. You can do team rankings, but for Switcholio, we don't do team rankings. It's just going to be all individual. My first tiebreaker is SPR, but you can do other tiebreakers like PPR and DPR all in here if you want to, in case people have the same amount of points. I'm going to make mine public so I can show you on my phone everything that the players would see. And then memberships I'm going to do as well because this is going to be an 8-week league. The players are going to get the top 5 tournaments that they score points in will count towards their overall points. And there's 2 points for every win that they have every week. And there's 1 point just for showing up. So because, some people don't like having 0 next to their name for your season points. So if they just show up, they get a point, right? So that's kind of fun. Everybody gets a participation ribbon here in Scoreholio. We love everyone. My membership info, I'm going to do $80 for a membership fee because it's 8 weeks long. So that's $10 a week. And they do pay for that up front to be able to get into the season. Now, I would allow them to be able to pay that at any time. It's always $80 just to join the league. And then every week, I would collect $5, either cash or however you do it. And that would be for like a weekly thing, if you do a bracket after your Switcholio every week. But that's something that you wouldn't collect in the membership fee. I'll show you how to handle that a little later. And then you can put in a cool, fun logo if you want, and then go ahead and update your settings. I'm going to go ahead and now go into the manage button for the Switcholio League. And go over what you're seeing here. So this is the tournaments tab. You're going to see it's empty because I haven't submitted any tournaments to this season yet. I'm going to come back to this tab once we do that, so that way you can see how it operates. And then I have memberships. So as people pay for memberships, they're going to start showing up in here. And this is where you're going to be able to manage everything with regards to the player. So you can change their name on how it looks on the rankings. It'll have all their contact information, which is really nice if you want to export, the player roster, and do all sorts of cool things with different columns. The player rankings, pretty self-explanatory. That's where all the rankings are going to go based off of after how many points that they have. Organizers, let's say that you have other people like close to your area and you want to have more organizers submit to this Switcholio League. You can have unlimited organizers, and all you have to do is go ahead and click here, and you can add them, and then they're available for them to submit to this season as well. So really cool just to add a bunch of different organizers, if you want to expand your season. Season options. Now, this is where all the magic is going to happen. This is how you set up how these players are going to get points and how many points they're going to get. Now, division is always the key, right? So we have division here. Division is how you're going to be able to sort that leaderboard. So whatever the division is, that's what you can sort different leaderboards by. So if, let's say, you had a men's league or a women's league, you can do that. Or if you did advanced and social and competitive, you can put those as the division name. For our Switcholio League, everybody's just going to play in it. So we're going to just do one division. Now, category and type are different ways to differentiate how many points you get. So, let's say that you were doing a tier 1 or a tier 2, or you had different level brackets, or if you had men's singles advanced tier 1, you could do something like that. But these really don't have any bearings on the actual sorting of the leaderboard. It's just ways to differentiate how many points. Now, in mine, we're just all in one big group. We're all just doing a switch. So I'm just putting one little category for each one of these. The next big one is this pool here. And this one's very important because this is how many tournaments count towards their overall score. So for ours, it's an 8-week league, but only the top 5 count. So if you went to 6, and you would take your top 5. If you went to 3, you'd get your top 3. But if you go to all 8, it's going to take your top 5 games that are submitted to the Switch. Now I'm going to go ahead and show you how to create your points option. This is what's going to get submitted after your tournament. I'm going to go ahead and click on this one since it's already done. As you can see, we had one division, so I picked it, and then one category, one type, and then the one pool, right? Now, active, inactive, this one's active. Locking points is if you don't want people, if you have multiple organizers and you don't want them to be able to adjust points manually, you can lock those points if you want to. If you're doing selected tiebreakers, so you could do only certain point options actually count towards the tiebreaker. Well, we only have one point option, so that doesn't really matter here, but you can look into that later. The docs section, docs.scoreholio.com, has all of this information in it if you need it. And then you can do it by standings, right? So like if they get first, second, third, if you were submitting a bracket, or even a round robin, you can do by standings. But for this one, we're going to do wins, loss, ties, participation, right? So we're going to give 2 points for every win, and we're going to give 1 point for just showing up. So that way there's no zeros next to everybody's points, right? So that's how you set it up. You got your division, category, type, pool, and then you're going to just go ahead and set up how many points you want people to get. And then once that's set up, you're pretty much ready to go ahead and start submitting your tournaments to this season. Now, for ours, we're going to do memberships as well. That's so that way, we can collect that fee right off the bat. There are fees associated with that. You can find those at docs.scoreholio.com as well. But, you're only doing one transaction with these people. So the PayPal fee only counts one time. The Scoreholio fee only counts one time. You do have to pay the fees as the organizer. So, if it's $80, you'll have to do the math. There's a friendly chart on our doc section that'll show you approximately what you're going to actually get if you charge $80. But it makes your job a lot easier at collecting the money, up front. So that way it's a lot less stress on you. Now, what you're going to do is you're going to make a membership level. I've made one that is SH Switch membership. And then if I look at this, I have, my SH Switch membership. This is just for you, so you can see what the name of it is, what it shows up on the receipt for the player, the price, which, this is $80. Bonus points. If you were doing bonus points for members, you can always do that, but not for this one, for our tutorial status. And this access is for everyone. If you ended up doing like upgraded, you can upgrade from, like, let's say a gold to a, silver or whatever. You can always make it so a silver can upgrade to a gold. And then that's our point. That's our membership payment there. If we look at the season setup tab here, this PayPal, you actually set that up on the run a tournament tab, just like you would do for pre-registration. So you can enable your PayPal payments here, and then that way it shows up. So what happens? What you can do is you can tell your players, they can actually go to the Scoreholio seasons, the brown button there. And if they search for your season here, so I'm going to do all current ones. And if I search for Switcholio tutorial, which I'm doing here, and you can see it right here, I can click on this details button, and then the players can go to memberships here. And it's going to have this purchase a memberships button. And if I click that and I go here and I type in Ben at Scoreholio.com, you're going to see it's going to pull up my account. So you can actually buy memberships for other people if you wanted to, and people can just go ahead and pay it. So I'm going to select that I want this $80 membership, and I'm going to put in all my information. Look, you're going to be able to get all your players' phone numbers, get their address and everything if you guys want to do player cards or something like that. Super fun. And when they click continue, it's going to ask them to go ahead and play by credit card or by PayPal if you have PayPal set up. You can also do Stripe if you want to do Stripe if you don't like PayPal, and then you would enable it here, and then they can pay by credit card through there. But that's how easy it is for the players to go ahead and get that membership. Once they are members, they'll be able to see all the rankings and everything, and it'll all be on the Mine tab, which I'll show you as we go along this tutorial. So now we're all set up. We're collecting payments. You're done with this. Now every season, you can go ahead and clone this, so you don't even have to go through this rigmarole anymore. But you're all set up. You got everything good to go. And now you're ready to start running some tournaments, right? So if I go to my app.scoreholio, I'm going to go ahead and you guys know what this looks like. This is where all your tournaments are. If you look, I have week 1 here. And I'm going to show you what I have for week 1. So I got the name, the date, and where it's at. And then I'm going to do round robin, Switcholio. And if you look, I have 1 court. The number of rounds it's always good to have 4. So in Switcholio, if you do multiple rounds of 4, so 4, 8, 12, it's always going to work no matter how many teams you have. Now, this is going to get a little confusing, but bear with me. If you do an even amount of rounds, you can have an even amount of players as well. So if you did 6, you just need to make sure you have an even amount of players. If you do something that's odd, you would want to go to our blog section and look up the how many courts and how many rounds to set. We have a graph there that you're able to go ahead and look at. So I'm going to just do 4 rounds. It's easy on everybody. You can do a bracket afterwards and have a lot of fun. And then I'm not doing pre-registration for this because we already got our membership. So I'm just going to go ahead and, if people want to stick around for the bracket, collect the money at that time. So I'm going to go ahead and head into this admin now and show you how to go ahead and submit a tournament to the seasons. As you can see, I've already ran this round robin, right? So I've, had everybody, I scanned them all in, I clicked start tournament, and I ran this week, right? So what I'm going to do now is after it's done, if you want to go to the bracket, you can always go to bracket and create bracket. Now, the cool thing is you can always seed by your Scoreholio seasons points. Now, obviously, nobody's got season points yet, but if you wanted to, you can always seed by that or PPR, or however you want to do it after you play your round robin. So now I'm going to go up to this seasons tab here and click on seasons. And what you're going to see is that you can use this drop down to pick the season that we're doing, which is Switcholio League Tutorial. And if I pick that, and then I'm going to see the points option that we just created, the SH Switch League 2022 Switch, all that. And then I'm going to pick the format is going to be round robin. And you'll see it's going to go ahead and pull up everybody's score. Now, oh my God, I gave Nick 4 wins. This is obviously a tutorial and not real life. But he won 4, so times 2 is 8, plus his 1 point participation, and he gets a 9 there. So everybody got all their points. And because you want to make sure that they pre-register or scan in because everything is based off of email, make sure that their emails are all set up here. And then I'm going to go ahead and click this submit results to the season. And if you notice, it's going to take a little bit. And then it's going to go ahead and lock this out. So you can't submit that again to the same season. And I'll show you how to go ahead and get this back if you need to go back and make revisions. But if I go back to my seasons detail and I click this refresh button, you're going to see that this season popped up on that tournaments tab that I was talking about earlier. So now it says pending. What I want to do is I want to go ahead and click manage. And I'm going to look at this. I'm going to say, okay, look at everybody got the right points here. And I'm going to change this to approved here. And I'm going to click update. It's going to come down and it's going to ask you to update only or recalculate. If you got a bunch of them to do update only on all of them and then click recalculate, because recalculate actually takes about a minute or 2 for the system to go grab all the information and calculate everything that you need calculated. While that's doing that, I'm going to go ahead and show you what to do for week 2. So now we've ran week 1 for our Switcholio League, and we're going and submitting all of those points to the season. So I'm going to go ahead and click on this, and I'm going to clone week 1. And when I clone week 1, I'm going to take this, I'm going to change copy to week 2. And it's going to be, change the time to the next week, whatever you need to do. So, let's say it's, now the 22nd, then I'm going to change it to, well, here we go, 22nd. There we go. And, all the same stuff is going to happen. So, if I need to add 1 more court this week, I would change it to 2. Whatever you guys need to change for the following week, you can do it if you want to use player scoring, whatever you need to do. And I'm going to go ahead and create week 2. So now that I have week 2 set up right here, I'm going to go ahead and go into the admin. And what I'll do is I'm going to take everybody from week 1. So I'm going to click this import button, and I'm going to take everybody's record, the teams, what are you looking to import, teams and players. And I'm going to take the ones from week 1 here, and I'm going to put them into pre-registration. So what is here? So we have import wins and losses and records. I'm actually going to say no to that because every week it's going to start fresh and everybody's going to have 0-0. So players can go back to their old tournaments and see how exactly they did that week. And because we have it in seasons, you're going to get the accumulating points all throughout the season. Now, import previous matchups. This is what prevents people from having the same partner 2 times. Now, you have to remember that the system doesn't allow players to play twice. So if John and Whitney played the first week, if you bring in that matchup, they won't play the second week. But you have to know that if you're playing 4 games a week and you have 8 players, that means that it can only go 7 rounds before it's going to lock up. So if it ever locks up, all of a sudden the system's not putting players onto the court, that means that you've brought the matchups in too many times. So you need to go to stats and logs and just delete the games out of the game log, which will clear the matchups so other players can play again for that week. Now, deleting games out of the game log does not affect anybody's record. It's going to make it so that way you can keep on going. So what do we do here? We're going to go ahead and select all of these players. We're going to move them into pre-registration. We're going to bring the game log because maybe somebody else shows up this week and we'll be able to play it again. So I'm going to go ahead and import these teams to the pre-registration section. Oh, you know what? I forgot to actually turn on pre-registration. So let me go here to week 2 and I'm going to turn on pre-registration. See, even I make mistakes and, moving along a fast tutorial, but luckily with Scoreholio, everything's really easy to fix. So now if I go to admin and week 2, all of my players will show up in the pre-registration. So that week, maybe 20 minutes, 30 minutes before the tournament, what I would do is I would click self check-in, turn it on to everyone, and send all 8 notifications, which it's not going to work because they're fake emails. And it's going to send those all in, and they're going to get a push notification. Are you here this week? And if they say yes, it's going to go ahead and check them in. And everybody's going to go ahead and check themselves in for this week. And then if somebody comes in and they're new this week, I would just scan them right in so that way they're ready to play. And then if, Terry didn't get his push notification, he walks in the door, I just check him in. Or, I would do that over here, on Run a Tournament and check him in from the check-in page, the purple button, which I'm sure you guys are all familiar with as well. But there you go. So you're basically ready to go now on the score. Oh, looks like my simulator has frozen. Good old Samsung. Oh, there we go. We're back at it. And you're running week 2. And after week 2 is done, you're going to go ahead and go to seasons, select your stuff, and submit the game to your seasons. And overall, everybody will be able to check it on their phone on this brown one. It'll be under mine once they are actually playing in it. And they'll be able to go to the leaderboard and see how they're stacking up, as the season goes along. And you can see that it's starting to do it. If I look at Nick, they could click on it and they could see every single tournament that they played, what place they got, and all of that good stuff as the season's going along. Well, I fit it all in under 20 minutes. Sorry that it was such a long tutorial, but it's once you get it all set up, you'll be able to clone everything, and it's going to take you like 1 minute every single week to get everything all set up. And then next season, you can just clone the season and get right to it. So this has been with Scoreholio. It's actually really easy-beasy. Just get it set up and have a lot of fun out there. Bye, guys.